Welcome to your super basic beginner yoga practice. Let's just go ahead and get started. Come to a simple seated pose, whatever is most comfortable for you. It could be an easy seated pose. You could have your legs out in front of you if your knees or your hips are hurting, or you can even sit back on your heels. So come to a simple seated pose, and we're just going to feel, to check in, and to breathe. So sit up nice and tall, find good posture, and rest your hands on your knees or in your lap with one on top of the other. Close your eyes and start to breathe in and out through the nose. Feel your belly rise and fall, expanding in all directions like a balloon, getting bigger and getting smaller. Start to just notice how your body feels. What tightness, what stuck areas are you holding on to that you want to loosen up or find space in today? Get one more deep breath. Then you can open the eyes and take your chin down to your chest and rock your head side to side. Stretching out the neck in all areas or all directions that feel comfortable for you, even full rotations if it feels good. Okay, bring your head back up to the center. Let's start with that spinal movement or spinal warm-up. Simple spinal warm-ups in 6 different directions. So let's start with an inhale. Reach those arms up high. Let's do side bends first. One hand comes down, other opposite arm comes up and over. Look up, find a length through that reaching arm side. Take another deep breath, reaching longer, pressing that top elbow back just slightly. As you inhale, reach both arms up high, find length in between. Exhale, side bend to the other side. Now with the breath, back and forth one more time. Reach up and inhale. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, side bend. Let's bring the hands up to the top and then place them on your knees. So we're going to actually switch the crossing of the legs just to keep it even and keep your hips even and stretched out neutral. So it might feel a little bit uncomfortable to take the opposite leg on top or opposite leg in front, but try it anyway. So let's take the hands back up, reaching up high. Let's add those twists. Take your right hand to your left knee and your left hand behind you. Look back. Exhale. Just going back and forth with your breath. Reach up and inhale. Back to center. Exhale, twist to the other side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, twist. We're just doing 2 each direction. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, twist. Reach up high, inhale. Now take the hands down to your knees. Good, round your back, pull in as you exhale to seated cat pose. Inhale, arch the back, look up, cat pose. And go back and forth 2 more times. Exhale, pulling in, rounding the back. Inhale, arching and lifting. Connect the breath with that movement. One more time. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift. Good, back to neutral position. Let's bring it to hands and knees. So we're gonna rock forward or swing your legs around onto our hands and knees into a 4-point base, just to get stable on the hands and know where we need to be. So let's take those fingers wide with the place in between the index finger and the middle finger pointed forward. Make sure you're pressing into your fingertips so that if someone were to come up and try to lift your fingers up, they would stay pressed down and not lift. So here we are in this neutral 4-point base. The hips are stacked over the knees and shoulders over the wrists. This is a good, strong, stable position. From here, we'll step back with the feet, one at a time, to a plank pose. Now notice how you feel in this plank pose. We've got a strong, straight body from crown of the head through the heels. If this is a bit much for you today, take the knees down, but still stay long through the spine, the whole back of the body, from your knees to the crown of the head. So from plank pose or kneeling plank pose, pick up the knees, lift the hips, and start to press back for your first downward facing dog. But we'll do this with bent knees to start. Bend the knees, pedal the feet, bending one knee at a time, pressing weight into the back of the body, so hopefully you won't slide or slip on your yoga mat. But we've got long in the neck, so we're looking back towards the toes, keeping knees bent at first because this is our first one. I know this might not be that comfortable, and just so you know, at any time if you're like, hey, I just need a break, you can take the knees down and sit back on the heels, extend the arms to child's pose. Child's pose is a great resting pose. Anytime. Okay, back to downward facing dog. So from that child's pose, the hands and the feet stay the same distance. Typically shift forward, tuck the toes under, and we lift the hips. And we'll walk the feet forward to the hands, taking as many steps as you want. Soft bend in the knees. Hang out in this forward fold. Relax, release, shake out the head, shake out the shoulders, the wrists, the arms. Sway from side to side. And then bend a little bit deeper. And for our first time to standing, we'll roll ourselves up or walk our hands up the legs to a standing mountain pose, which is sort of where we started in the lesson 1 was mountain pose. So we did a few poses to transition us to this position. So you're going to stand tall at the top of the mat. Your feet can be hip distance or together. It's whatever is most comfortable for you. Feel your quads lifting, kneecaps lifted, quads engaged, shoulders back, rooted down through the feet, through the heels and both sides of the big toe and pinky toe of both feet. Take your hands to your heart, close the eyes, and now is a great place to once again check in with the breath, but also set an intention for your practice or for your day. What is it that you're hoping to cultivate right here, right now? And who are you hoping to be in this moment? Okay, we'll take it to a sun salutation A. Reach those arms up, inhale. Exhale, we can open the arms, dive down, or take the hands through the heart center. I don't have a lot of space, so I'm taking them through the heart center to fold forward, leading with the heart and slight bend in the knees. Hands towards the ground. Then lift up halfway, hands to the shins, and lengthen out the back. Take your hands down to the floor again. Step back to plank pose. From the knees or the toes, we're going to lower with our elbows by the side of the body, elbows over the wrists, and shoulders no lower than the elbows for chaturanga. Upward facing dog, lift the heart forward, roll the shoulders back, gazes forward, and then look down, lift the hips up and back, stepping over the toes. Let's get those hips to downward facing dog. Core is in, abs engaged. And now we find some stillness, some breath as we gain strength in this foundational pose. Pressing into the fingers, doing what you can. I know right away it's not going to be the most comfortable, but breathe through it and do your best. All you can do is show up. Okay, walk the feet forward to the top of the mat. We'll do that one more time. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, look forward, slight bend in the knees, and rise up. Take your hands to your heart. Let's do it again. Reach up, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, step back to plank pose and lower to chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths. You can practice these sun salutations anytime throughout the day or add them to your practice. They can be your entire practice if you only had a few minutes. And the more you stay in postures like downward facing dog, the more comfortable it's going to be in time. So give it time, be patient, and trust the process. Okay, walk your feet forward to the top of the mat. Half lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Rise up nice and tall, reach up, inhale. Hands connect by your heart. Bring them down. Okay, sun salutation B. So we went through some of these poses in a different lesson. So after lesson 1, we did some warrior poses. Lesson 3, we did chair pose. So let's start in chair pose for sun salutation B. Bend the knees, sit back. Reach those arms up. Weights in the heels, look forward. Exhale, forward fold. Straighten out the legs. Half lift. Plant the hands and step back to plank. You can always skip this and go straight to downward facing dog, or go through the push-up if you'd like to. Depends on how your shoulders and how your body's feeling. Chaturanga, up dog, inhale, and downward facing dog. Step your right foot between the hands to a low lunge. Spin the back heel down and walk the hands up or reach those arms up overhead, lifting your shoulders over the hips with a bent front knee and back foot sealed to the floor. Warrior 1. One more inhale, reaching high. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step it back to plank pose. Again, you can go straight to down dog if you'd like, or we take that vinyasa flow. Chaturanga, exhale. Up dog, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Now it's the left foot that steps forward between the hands. Back heel spins down, rise up. Soften and bend a little deeper in that left knee, the front knee. Reach up high while keeping the shoulders soft. And then take the hands back to the floor as you exhale. Step back. Last one. Exhale, chaturanga. Up dog, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Walk your feet forward to the top of the mat. Lift halfway as you inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Chair pose, sitting back into the heels. Bend the knees, reach the arms up. Connect the hands, bring them to your heart, and stand up tall. Nice. So now we're going to start by stepping the left foot straight back. Instead of going through our sun salutation, we'll just step back. So step straight back and then spin the back heel down. Take your hands to your hips. We've got warrior 1 with hands on the hips. Let's head to warrior 2 by turning our hips out to the left, opening up, pressing into that front pinky toe, and maybe heel toeing that right foot a little closer to the middle of the mat so the front heel is in line with the back arch. Now level off the hips. So instead of this one bumping up, we're leveling and feeling even here. We can set the intensity by widening the feet a little bit more for more intensity, or shortening your stance for less. Open the arms, reach long, parallel to the ground, right hand forward, left hand back, and bend a little deeper. Warrior 2. Soften those shoulders and get strong, grounded, rooted in the feet, strong and long in the length of the arms. Take your gaze directly over the front fingers. Heading towards reverse warrior, flip that front palm. Take that right hand way up high. Left hand slides down the left leg, keeping the leg position the same as warrior 2. A few deep breaths. Good, back to warrior 2. Straighten that front leg, that right leg, and we're just going to pivot to the other side. So turn that right foot in and left foot to the back of your mat. Bend the left knee, and we're already in warrior two. So we've already set up the hips on the other side, so we make sure that they're the same on this side where they're level and even. Arms are out wide and deep bend in that left knee, keeping the left knee over the ankle and that back leg straight and strong. So look back or forward towards your left hand, left fingertips, soften the shoulders and squeeze in the back of the body, squeezing the heels together to feel this engagement. Draw into the midline, to your spine, to the origin. Lift all the way out and up, creating a lot of energy. Okay, let's take that left hand, flip the palm, reach up high, right hand slides down the back leg. We stay strong in our leg stance of warrior two. We just reach up with our palm facing back towards the place behind you. Gaze up towards your left hand. Good, let's come back up to warrior two. Awesome, and straighten that front leg, that left leg. Pivot back to the middle. Take your hands to your hips and heel toe the feet in just a little bit. Heading to triangle pose, there's a couple ways to get into this. Turn your right foot again, pivot towards the top of the mat, the front of the mat. Your back toes, left toes will turn a little bit more to the front. Like I said in our lessons, your hips are not facing the back, they're not facing the side. They're sort of neutral wherever they would naturally fall. Open the arms wide and reach as long as you can towards that right foot, beyond the right foot, reaching to the wall, whatever's in front of you. Then take your right hand down to your shin, your foot, or the floor as that left hand rises up. You could also keep it on your hip. So this create length through both sides of the torso as we open up into triangle pose. And you can even imagine a wall behind you or someone's hand you're gently pressing the upper body into, looking up. This is a very strength building pose, also can be very beneficial for balance. A lot of things going on here. Okay, another way to get into it is take both hands down to the ground, let the left meet the right, bend that right knee just for a little release. Keep the right hand on the floor this time, straighten that right leg as much as possible, and then just like you're pulling a string up from the ground, take that left hand and reach it up. Now you might not get as much of a twist or an openness in this body as you keep that right hand on the floor. You're going to feel something a little bit different. It's still beneficial and still a strong pose for your practice. You can hold these poses as long as you'd like. Okay, take that hand back down to the floor and we're going to walk our hands, bend that right knee, step back to downward facing dog. Just give yourself a little down dog or a child's pose for a rest, and we'll hit the other side. Okay, come back to downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward, top of the mat. Half lift, inhale, just to transition. Exhale, forward fold. Then reach up, standing up tall. Hands to your heart. Because I want to keep facing you, I'm just going to step that left foot back again. Turn to face the left side, and then turn that left foot to the back. Right heel is a little farther, so we turn a little bit inward rotation of the toes. Hips neutral again, wherever they would naturally fall. Open up the arms, reach it long. Got a mirror here in front of me. Reach long to the front, and then take that left hand down towards ankle or the foot, right arm up high. So we're looking up towards that right hand. Unless it bothers your neck, you can look down towards your left foot. This is where a block can come in handy here, where you can place a hand on a block on the inside or the outside of the foot. Keep drawing the upper body and shoulders back in line with the plane of the legs. Good, now take that right hand down, draw it down to meet the left, both hands on the floor. So now your hips are a little bit more squared to the back of the mat or towards that left foot where it's pointed. Both hands down. Try to keep that left leg straight. Of course, a little micro bend is always pretty good. Keep the left hand, like I said, down. Right hand, like you're pulling up a string, pull it up and reach up high. There we have triangle pose on the other side. And then both hands down to the floor. Frame the foot, bend that left knee, step back to downward facing dog. Take the knees down and sit back in child's pose. And from our child's pose, again, shift forward, tuck the toes under, walk your feet forward to the top of the mat. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. And then rise up, standing up tall to mountain pose. Hands come down to your heart. Again, I'm going to turn myself to face you, but you can face whatever direction is comfortable as we head to tree pose. So our standing balance position. There are a few ways we can do this. Let's start with weight in that left foot, drawing straight down, rooting down, feeling every toe into the ground. Then turn that right knee out to the side, making a kickstand with your heel on your ankle and toes on the ground. So you're going to engage your glutes to get that knee to draw back and the hips stay facing forward. So you're going to feel this rotation in the hip crease throughout this pose, but also it's a balance pose. So we can stay here. You can use, of course, a wall or something for balance. You can even slide that foot a little higher, maybe up to the calf, or above the knee up to the thigh. Press your foot actively into that standing leg, and then the hand position is up to you. We can stay in hands at prayer position, hands at your hips, or reach overhead like a Y with your palms facing each other like you're holding onto a big beach ball. Then keep opening up the hips. Feel that rotation. Squeeze your booty a little bit as that right knee draws back. Hips stay forward. Find a single point of focus to gaze at to help you keep your balance. And of course, keep that core engaged. Okay, take the hands back to your heart or to your hips, and then we'll switch. Take the right leg down, maybe give it a little shake out. Then we take the left foot and do the same thing. Right leg is grounded, right foot is rooted, grounded into your mat or into wherever you're standing. Sometimes if you're on a mat or carpet, it can be a little more challenging for your balance, whereas a hardwood floor or hard floor could be easier. So make a kickstand with that left foot, heel on the ankle to start. And then we'll work our foot up if that's in your practice today. Sometimes staying at the lower level can actually be more beneficial for you. This is something you have to, this is a place where you can remind yourself of your intention and find what works for you in this moment. So hand positions can be reaching or hands at hearts. And take the hands back down to your heart or to your hips. And the left foot slowly comes down, just as slow as it came up. All right, give it a little shake. You'll actually feel a lot of activation in that standing leg, maybe a bit in the ankle, because there's a lot of little muscles helping to stabilize your body in that position. Head back to the top of the mat if you weren't there already. And we'll head to pigeon pose. We'll start and transition through a sun salutation to get there. So take an inhale, reach those hands up, standing extended mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back to plank pose. And right here, we'll actually go straight to downward facing dog. Just lift the hips up and back, feet hip distance. Then we take that right knee to the right wrist, right knee to right wrist, shift it forward, find your core strength, and then turn the ankle inward, right ankle to the left wrist, and place your shin down, shin and knee down at an angle. Extend that back leg as far as you can. This is a good place to put a blanket or a block or something, a prop underneath that right hip. If you're finding that it's if you're feeling really tilted to the side or you're feeling pretty tight. So you can stay in this upright position, that works. Or let's start to fold it forward. So walk the hands forward over the right shin, keeping the right shoulder in line with the right knee. And if you can, place your fists on one another to place your forehead on your fist or on a block or really any kind of prop, just to help you alleviate some of the tension found in the hips. Long, steady, deep breaths in and out through the nose. This is where you can bring in some of that Ujjayi pranayama. Add the constriction in the back of the throat, creating heat and a cleansing effect. You can walk your hands back up so that they're underneath the shoulder, and we'll just switch sides. So tuck the back toes under, lift, use your core strength to lift and step back to downward facing dog. Let's add a little shake out of that right leg. And then the left knee comes forward to the left wrist. Turn the ankle and the foot inward. Place the shin down. Awesome. Extend that back leg. Again, let's add any kind of props if you need them underneath the left side or in front for your forehead. Take a lengthening breath. Find a little back bend here, some energy. And then walk it down. Fold down into our pigeon pose. Sometimes it's called half pigeon. Sometimes it's called sleeping pigeon. Depends on what kind of class you're going to. Stay steady and even with your breath. And exhale into all those stuck areas, all those places that need a little extra space, mentally and physically. Okay, walk your hands back up underneath the shoulders, tuck the back toes under, and lift up and back to downward facing dog, shaking out that left foot. Wiggle it out. This is our last down dog, so place both feet on the floor, heels pressing towards the ground behind you with a slight outward rotation of the heels, fingertips pressing down, and notice already the difference you've made from the beginning to right now. You can take a sighing breath out. Then take the knees to the floor. Hands in knee position. Sit back on the heels and swing the legs around so you're in a seated pose. So we're in a seated pose. Let's extend the legs straight forward, sitting in staff pose or dandasana. Pull the toes back like you're drawing or you're pressing your feet against the wall. Activating so much so that you could even lift the heels possibly as you press the kneecaps down. If this is really tight on the hamstrings or uncomfortable, you can place a blanket or something underneath the knees, bend the knees slightly, or even sit on a blanket, bolster, or a prop. So take the hands right by the side of your body, press down just so that you feel this shoulder roll activation back, lifting the chest and pulling the chin in slightly, and a lot of length through the upper body. So you have this L position in the body, and it's very active. With this same kind of activation, walk your hands a little bit more forward and hinge at the waist. You might not get super far, that's okay. Draw your chest towards your toes into a seated forward fold. If you can grab the feet, awesome. You can do that. Or you can take a strap around your feet, pulling the feet back, the tops of the feet back, as you pull on the strap to lengthen your chest forward. The goal of yoga practice is not the poses, it's not the handstand, it's not any of the fancy stuff. It's to maintain the breath, find space in those stuck areas, and self-love, taking care of yourself. Okay, release this, walk the hands up, Just because we've done a lot of forward folding, forward bending, I'm going to have us do a pose I didn't go through but in the lessons, but we can do it here so it's fine. I'm going to bend the knees a little bit, bend the knees slightly, take the feet hip distance, heading to a reverse tabletop. Hands go behind your back, fingers pointing towards the toes. Press into the heels and lift your hips and body off, mid-body off the floor until you're in a flat line, like looking like a tabletop. This is really great for the shoulders and chest opening. It's a nice, gentle back bend or heart opener. Of course, if this does not feel good on the shoulders, skip it, which is fine. Or just lift, or in a seated pose, lifting the chest is fine too. So you can sit back down, sit nice and tall. Extend the legs out again. Let's work into head to knee pose. So we'll take that left foot to the inner thigh of the right leg. Turn your body so it's in line with that straight front right leg. Reach all the way up for length in the upper body and fold over the right leg. You may find the foot, it's a little easier just doing one leg at a time than both legs at the same time when you fold forward. There's a little twisting rotation that happens here, so you can get your body in line with the right knee, the right leg. And then come back up and we'll switch sides. So extend the left leg, right foot to the inner thigh. I've got a wall in the way over here if you're watching this. That's okay. Turn your body over the left leg. Reach up high. Exhale as you fold it down, finding as much length as you can before folding over that left side. Pull the toes back and activate energy pressing through the left heel. So this is a hamstring stretch, but also for that bent knee side, you're getting a hip opening stretch and activation. So we're compounding moves together or different kinds of stretches and poses. Working together to create balance in the body. Okay, lift it back up. Awesome. Take those legs forward. We're going to roll down to our backs. So you can bend the knees, toes to the top of the mat. Reach forward, tuck the chin and roll down. Hug the knees in and rock side to side. That should feel pretty good. And to finish out our practice, we have a couple more poses. One of them being legs up the wall. So we take our legs straight up above the hips. Relax the hands down by your side. And allow energy to flow from the feet to the top of the head. And reaping all those anti-aging benefits. And feeling good for our whole system. The circulatory system, everything just working its way out, flushing the toxins. Bent knees is okay if you have tight hamstrings, or keep them straight. If you have an actual wall, this is a great pose to do against the wall with your legs just resting. So there's not a whole lot of effort here. It's quite passive. And you can stay here for as long as you'd like. But I'm going to give it about 2 more breaths before we come down to our final pose of our practice. And we start to bend the knees. One more time, hug the knees in. Our last and final pose is Shavasana, or our final relaxation. Extend the legs out in front of you. Let the feet fall open, so feet mat distance apart. Head is heavy, whole body is heavy, and your hands are by your side with your palms facing up. This is typically the pose of Shavasana, but you might find something else that works for you. You can always use props. You can change it up depending on your needs. In typical yoga classes, we'll hold this pose for about 10% of our practice time. If you can do longer than that, please, please, please do. It's so good for you. So find some silence, find some stillness, and let go of any effort with your breath, with your thoughts, and with your body. And this is where I'm going to leave you. You are welcome to stay as long as you'd like. And of course, I want to say thank you for joining in this practice. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.